a knockoff. Not your average mother, she's a rock star. She the real deal, not a knockoff. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG.
Those emotions, they were put on hold by time, by careers being built.
A scientist and a professor, but she's not here to lecture. A mom and a protector, she's a go-getter. You would love her if you met her. She'll entertain you for hours if you let her. Nature lover, but a badass undercover. Not your average mother, so you better run for cover. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Not your average mother, she's a rock star. She's the real deal, not a knockoff. Not your average mother, she's a rock star. She the real deal, not a knockoff. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG. A scientist and a professor, but she's not here to lecture. A mom and a protector, she's a go-getter. You would love her if you met her. She'll entertain you for hours if you let her. Nature lover, but a badass undercover. Not your average mother, so you better run for cover. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Not your average mother, she's a rock star. She's the real deal, not a knockoff. Not your average mother, she's a rock star. She the real deal, not a knockoff. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG. A scientist and a professor, but she's not here to lecture. A mom and a protector, she's a go-getter. You would love her if you met her. She'll entertain you for hours if you let her. Nature lover, but a badass undercover. Not your average mother, so you better run for cover. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's
it really helps. I can kind of have that song playing while I kind of prep here my screen. I got like a ton of like stuff in front of me, and I'm trying to
Mommy's
get
got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG. Come and see. Come and see. Mommy's got an SMG. A scientist and a professor, but she's not here to lecture. A mom and a protector, she's a go-getter. You would love her if you met her. She'll entertain you for hours if you let her. Nature lover, but a badass undercover. Not your average mother, so you better run for cover. Mommy's got an SMG, and she's live on Twitch.
Hey, Bonjour. Bonjour, you're like omnipresent. You're always everywhere. Hello, Young Slack. I don't know. Yeah, you're definitely a new face in my stream, Young Slack. Hope you can stay long enough to enjoy it. Hey, Jack.
And she's live on Twitch TV. Come and see.
I am gonna get started. You guys ready? Alright, let me see. Got this. Okay. Alright. Hey everybody! Thanks. I have like a new emote. Oh yeah, you got my big love. I know, the big love one like shows up really, really well if you have white. I didn't kind of think about it. Like, it doesn't show up as good on black, I think. Oh, hey, Rizzle FPS. How are you? How have your streams been? Thank you guys for coming. today is going to be, tag command, that's funny. Today is going to be kind of a gross stream. So I'm going to talk about like forensic entomology. Yeah, mine have been good. Insects and dead bodies. Yeah, we're going to talk about something I do in my life, which is like called forensic entomology. So I'm going to kind of take you through and show you like actual insects that came from a dead body here in the state that I live in, the Bee Whisperer. Yeah. So I'm going to actually show you maggots that were once on a dead body, right? So this is not existing evidence and stuff anymore. Like they didn't need our insect evidence in that case. It's an expired case that they didn't need it for. So I can't actually show any other detail from that crime scene, but sometimes, so I'm an entomologist, right? And yeah, so I actually have a good friend that works at the state crime lab. And when we became friends, like she realized that like one of my areas of expertise is medical entomology and forensic entomology. There's my big love. I like the big love so much. He stole me some maggots. Yeah, I got some maggots. I got lots of maggots. You guys, like, you can close your eyes at some pieces. So don't worry. I have maggots. Yeah, they're my maggots. I raised them. I cared for them. I took care of them in a laboratory. The entire building smelled really disgusting, but we'll talk about that. But yeah, so we are the go-to in the state for, I'll tell you kind of what forensic entomology is, but and I'll kind of walk you through some different things, elements of forensic entomology. But we can actually, like, a dead body is found. If there's insect evidence on it, sometimes that insect evidence can tell a lot about maybe cause of death, when something died, like when that person was killed. Hey, Nether! Hey! So it's really, really cool because, you know, it's something that is an area that I study is really the impacts of temperature on, are these coming to war zone? What's that coming to war zone? Insects, maybe. You know, like when I've like played Warzone, like I think I've heard, like there's one area, like I'm only new to Warzone, but there's only one area where there's flies and I think it's funny. So anyways, but yeah, you can determine like time since somebody died based on like the temperature and the stages of development. And I'm going to talk you through some of it so you can learn with me. I want to kind of start off first by showing you a kind of a little bit of a graphic video so you can see the context of like how a body decomposes. Oh, and so I was talking about my area of expertise. So we help the crime lab, in some cases, help them narrow down like when this person died, right? And so a lot of times they'll find a dead body, like maybe in their house or in the woods, or the evidence I'll show you, this person was found dead in their car. That we can actually help narrow down like when this person died, and they can use that information sometimes to like determine like maybe somebody who is a suspect. Maybe they said they couldn't have been, they had an alibi, but then kind of giving them this window of when the person may have died based on insect evidence. We can either corroborate or show that maybe that their alibi wasn't really useful. So, hey, English Grant, how are you? And Junk, and sorry, and Nether, and everybody that just came here. So that's kind of what I'm going to talk you through right now. So if you are squeamish, and I'm not going to show you like decomposition of a human, and it's really cool. Like prior to COVID, there was talk that we might get our own body farm here. And so like that would be kind of great to have our own body farm. That would be an awesome thing for us to have. But like we've put pigs out in the woods and we've kind of been able to do things. Thank you. Yes, I'm smiling. So I'm going to show you, let's watch a video. And this is going to be like a video of like the stages of decomposition. So you can see, and this one they're using a boar. And so like if you look at, and we generally use pigs because pigs are like a good model for, I know, Russell, FPS, I know, I tried to warn people not to eat. It's a lunch and learn, but don't maybe bring your lunch. You might lose your lunch. No. Mama is scary. I'm scary. I'm sorry. I know I try to warn people. But if you look near the face, you can see all that white mass. That's actually where the flies lay their eggs, right? So the flies are usually the first ones to get to a dead body, and they get there within hours. So they lay their eggs near orifices, right? So nothing, flies, they like to suck on juices, right? So like they can vomit on your food and then suck back the vomit. But overall, they just can't like burrow through skin and fur. So they have to get in through orifices, right? And so you're having rice and hamburger. Sorry. Yeah, so usually what happens is you see a lot of the maggot. Those are some maggot mass. I know I should go back. I'm going to go back just a little bit. I'm going to kind of bring you back. I'm going to pause. I'm going to go back here and pause for a second. But you see like all of the white. Oh yeah, I can see my pointer. You can actually see my pointer. Those are eggs, and they have to get in through orifices, right? I'm going to pause for a second so I can talk. And so, like, generally the maggots, the flies will lay eggs near the mouth, the eyes, the nose, or the anus, or any other opening, right? And so what's cool is, like, if you, hey, Sunny, hey, noob. No, I'm sorry. I tried to warn you guys this would be gross. But, like, say there's, like, somebody was shot, right? You would all of a sudden see, or stabbed, you would see insect evidence around a stab wound, right? Or a place that's not typically an orifice, right? And so, and I want you to kind of also see, like, as the body decomposes in the early stages, it blows up, it fills with gases. And that's literally like our bodies eating us alive, our enzymes and natural bacteria in of our bodies, like, eating us from the inside out. And so the body generally blows, and that's actually how blowflies get their name, because they're very present at the stage where the body blows up with gases, mainly because it's very, smell. You've probably smelled death before. It kind of has a very unique odor. But yeah, you can see like those maggot masses, again, like very abundant in those areas where you have, so where those orifices were and stuff. So yeah, so that was, you have the early stages, you had the blow, the stages, and then now you kind of have more of these active decay where you see like, it's mainly like maggots at that point, eating away at the corpse and stuff. No, you didn't miss it, dog boy. We're just talking about the stages of decomposition in an animal. And so like this pattern is it's temperature dependent. And so you can kind of, maybe you're not, you can kind of see that like the maggots are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right? And so, like that's one of the things that we can do is kind of look at those maggots, right? So here, I'm going to stop that video. Okay. And go back. Look at me in technology. Like, did you guys ever think like, turn around to see, did you ever think I would have like some technology figured out? And I'm assuming you guys can hear me because nobody's actually complaining about not being able to hear me. So anyway, so that's a very common pattern, right? And that happens like over the span of a week, right? You have these different stages of decay. You have our body's enzymes and bacteria. You have the insects that smell those odors at those particular time, and they're very, my mic isn't on? Wait, what, Lalo? What? I hope you're just kidding, because hopefully, like, wait, what? Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, I'm, like, super gullible, so, yeah, if you mess with me, I'm gonna believe you, but they are. Okay, thank you. All right, so, what's that behind me? What's behind me? I have a painting behind me. We can hear me. We can hear me. You can hear me. Okay. My emotes should be maggots and the stages it turns. That's freaking brilliant. I love that existence. That's awesome. So anyway, you have like the body's natural stages of decomposition, right? And that happens. It's very temperature dependent. But then also you get the insects that come along, and they come along in different stages, right? And so maggot subbadges, it's brilliant. I love it. So we can go back and like, I'll show you some other pictures and things that I made. So a couple of years ago, I actually did like an escape room for kids, and like I let them like, they had to like identify the insect evidence and use that insect evidence and stuff. And then this is like one of those examples of things I showed them. So like part of it is us being able to identify the flies. And so I'm going to point out this one here is like Formia regina. Oops, you can't see where my thing is. Formia regina here is that number 4. And then you have number 9, Cochleomyia macellaria. These are 2 you got my theme song playing. Thanks. Theme song and flies. Sensitive crimes got you messed up. Oh, thanks. Yeah. I try to make, when I teach my students, I teach college level students, but I try to actually make it interesting and interactive. But yeah, so we can identify flies. Ooh, and I go back up here. So like, for example, like what I did with, I should let my like song play because yeah, you're probably enjoying listening to my song. And I'll pause. How is everybody doing? Like, I can't believe so many awesome people are here. You guys always brighten up my day. It means a lot when you guys come here. I know it's not your typical weird gaming, not your typical gaming, Fortnite's Warzone stuff. Hey, tribe! No, my song's not on YouTube, Lalo. But yeah, at some point I gotta get my, I gotta get more of my videos uploaded to YouTube. Tribe and those Doritos, I love it. Tribe, I don't know, I didn't ask you today if you got affiliate, but you showed your logo earlier, and I'm assuming that you got affiliate, and if so, congratulations. That's so awesome. I'm very proud of you. So we can look at insects, like, so I know this one on the left is Cochleomyia macellaria. This is like a very typical species we see down here. And on the right are black bottle fly, Formia regina. And so we can like, oh, thank you for the bits. Again, you don't have to do that. You see, like I have a thing. It says sub goal, save your money. Nobody ever has to spend money in here. It means like a lot when you guys just come here and you're here. Do some videos. Yeah, my anaconda ain't got none unless she's got bonds, hun. Right? Isn't that how that goes? Right? Anaconda. I'm glad like my video wasn't on when I said that because I'm kind of laughing about that. So we look at maggots. I'm talking so fast. Like, and I know like I do this with my students too. Usually they're like, yeah, Dr. Healy, slow down. Oh, what do you need? You didn't get it, tribe? Oh, well, you know, it takes usually like 24 hours to get the email. So you probably have it, but you just didn't get the email yet. So what happens is you're eating maggots. Yeah, like, oh, you're eating maggots, Michael, from the Lost Boys. Lalo, good reference. I know that reference. And yeah, so when you collect maggots, you see a mass of maggots, and then you can look at a single maggot and you can measure it. I'll show you like our typical little forensic ruler in a bit. And so we can measure it and look at how many millimeters. And here's another example. And so then what we can do is when you know the temperature, you can kind of come up with these little charts. So if that was like 27 millimeters, right, we can estimate that it's probably been about like 18 days since that egg was laid, right? So we can kind of use that evidence to, and I know I went through that like super duper fast, but yeah, so what you can do is like by knowing the size of the maggot and by knowing like the species, then we can say, hey, this person probably died within this time frame. We don't usually get a specific day. Ironically, I swear every time we do these cases, like the day always comes out to be Halloween. So I have no idea why on Halloween is to stay inside, because like so many of our cases that we've done it comes down to that Halloween mark. So I'm going to show you another thing. I have a little microscope here. And so I put like some actual flies underneath the microscope. So like in my lab, we do studies. We've historically always had a little, and I meant to show you my little forensic ruler. See, Ward's Forensics. So we can use this to measure things, right, for that time of death. But, we've done a lot of forensic collections. Historically, the person in my position has always been the forensic entomologist. My predecessor was a very kind of famous forensic entomologist. I'm not there yet. I'm still trying to get my certification. But yeah, so so how long did it take to catch them? So usually you get maggots, right? So you go out and I'll turn that off for a second. So usually what you do, right, you're at and like the first time my friend ever got me involved, she's at a crime scene and she's person on the floor, and she calls me up. It's like 2 a.m. and she's like, how do you collect maggots? So we have a certain process in which you I have a microscope cam going live. Yeah, so you got to be able to, I'm going to show real maggots, right, that were collected off of a real dead body. I'll tell you something a little bit about the case too. Microscope cam is absolutely cool. Yeah, I know, like the technology, like. And if you would have seen me when I first started streaming Rizzle, like I was a technology nightmare. It's nothing ever worked. Like all my streams pretty much sucked. But yeah, so now things are better. Probably thanks to the fact that I have this cool new gaming laptop. It's just made life easier. So where was I going? Oh, so there's a process, right? So if you go to a crime scene, and you see maggots on a dead body, you want to collect on the person, but also around the person, because as we mentioned, the eggs are laid near like parts of the body that the maggots can actually easily enter. The eggs hatch, the maggots go in, and so when they're in the dead body, they don't really move around much, but like, similar to like how a butterfly goes into a cocoon before becoming a butterfly, or a caterpillar goes to a cocoon before a butterfly. Maggots do the same thing. They have the cocoon stage. It's called the pupa. And so it'll go from this maggot, and then when it's ready to become a fly, it pupates, but it does that away from the body. So generally, you don't want to just collect the things on the body. You want to kind of search around. Look for adult flies, look for maggots, look for other insects, because even though flies are really the ones that we use as insect evidence, there are other like things like beetles that are very important in late stage decay. So anyways, those are some things that we use. And gosh, is there really 16 people here? Yeah, I thought for sure I'd get like one person. I thought like everybody would be super grossed out not wanting to come here. But anyways, so it's very easy to collect the maggots. And then you usually want to we use like alcohol. We carry alcohol vials, but it's really usually important you got to do 2 things, right? You want to preserve that stage as is, so we know what stage it was at the time of collection. And then along with that, we also want to raise some, because if these are really, really young maggots, they're very difficult to identify. So we usually take some back and we raise them to be adult flies. So we take the maggots, you boil them, or if you can somehow put them in hot water, you do that. And then you put them in alcohol. I'll show you in a second here. So like I have some with me. And these are from like my teaching collection, but you can kind of see here, this is like a teaching collection with some maggots in it. Right, so that's just like a alcohol vial with different. That was Cochleomyia macellaria. We have another species, Sarcophagia hemorrhoidalis. Cool name because it has a red butt. Thanks, Chill Girl. I don't know about that, but thank you for following. We're just talking science. And so then what we do with the maggots, so we preserve them in alcohol, right? We do that. And then I don't have a meatball with me, but we take a little bit of meat, Hamburg meat, raw meat, wrap it loosely in tin foil, and we use that for the maggots to rear on. We put them in an incubator at a stable temperature, so then we can watch the development. And then usually throughout the week, we can I got my little box here. Like you see here how I'll collect them and look at different dates. So like it's at a certain date, then they're all adult flies, right? And so that's kind of like what we do is we want to, there's different ways of identifying the adult fly, and then there's different ways of identifying the maggots. So it's like if you can like identify something to this species, then in a maggot, and then also identify it the same species as an adult, that kind of verifies that you've correctly identified it, because correct identification is key, because different species have different rates of development, they have different behavior traits. Like there are some flies, like it's pouring rain right now, so there are some flies that do not fly when it's raining. There are some flies that only fly during the day, some that are only found in winter or summer. So it's really important that you correctly identify the flies. So have I lost you all? Do you need to ask? You can ask me questions or tell me to pause, because like I know I do that in class. You probably, if you were my students in class, you'd be like on your phones, texting and chatting, and that's where if I saw you texting and chatting in my classroom, I'd probably call you up and tell me to demonstrate something. No, you're just listening. Okay. Just checking. I don't know. And so, yeah, that's, you're interested. Thanks, Rizzle. Yeah, so anyways, we can go back to, here, I'll show you the can. And then, yeah, we have the same with like the adult flies, right? So, so yeah, we have like the different adults that we can look at. And like we have ways we label it. You can see like I didn't make these are from our collection. But when we teach forensic entomology, usually what we do, so you can see, that's like we pin it, put a little label on it and everything. And oh, you play golf? I play golf too, Rizzle. I'd rather play golf than do much of anything too. When I was a student, I actually like applied for I won a presentation at a conference because it was like a $2,000 prize for being the winner, and it allowed me to get my Big Bertha hybrid clubs and everything. So that's how I got my golf clubs, was being yeah, I really enjoy what I do. I'm a nerd. I'm not afraid to admit that I am a nerd. But anyways, what was I talking about? We identify the insects, and then we can talk about the actual crime scene. So we got maggot evidence, we got adult evidence, and then we get, because these are real cases, we work with, they often give us a lot of graphic information. Oh, I was talking about the forensic class too. So I teach a forensic entomology class. And one of the cool things is like we put pigs out in the woods under different scenarios. So maybe some are buried, or some have been stabbed. And yeah, so like under different scenarios. And hey, Turtleneck Pro, let's go. And so it was cool because when we taught this class, we had like my students got into 6 different groups. So we had 6 different pigs under 6 different scenarios. And the students, they had to go out and they had to collect all the insect evidence off of the pigs. And I didn't kill the pigs, but we do have people at our university that cull animals, and so they shot the pigs for us for the sake of science. And then the students went out and they collected the insect, and they had to tell us when those insects died. And then they had to go through a couple of weeks, identify them, and then they all presented, and it like broke my heart because every single one of those groups, and we put the pigs out at different times, so the students didn't have the same scenario. None of them did. But those students came back when they presented, they all got it right. They all got the correct time frame of when those pigs had been shot and killed and put out in the woods. So it's really neat to see it in practice that it actually works. So we do this in real life, and we've had a couple of cases. I'm still trying to work on my forensic entomology certification. So I'm the medical entomologist, meaning most of what I study are things that bite and sting and transmit pathogens. Oh, it's okay, Rizzle, but thank you for stopping by. Of course, yeah. I have kids too, so put your kids to sleep. That's important. So we get this evidence and things, and we get a lot of the graphic information, and it's pretty gross. I'm not gonna lie. I very rarely look at some of the crime scene photos and stuff that people actually give, like the crime lab actually gives, but it is useful information because, like, most of the time when we are trying to go through the insect evidence, we have to there's important questions. Like, for example, one case, the person was found inside their house, but it's if the person is inside their house, there is somewhat of a delay in when that flies will sense those odors and enter a house, right? So there's usually you might add a day or two onto that time since death. So we have to know a little bit of information about the crime scene itself. And so in that particular case, the person was, the door was open. So they were actually found wedged in the door. So they were kind of inside outside. Also, it's important to have that information because, yes, I'm a mom. I have two little boys, 9 and 6. And so, temperatures, incredibly important. So if somebody's outside or inside, we need to know those temperatures because that's going to influence things. So there's so much. We teach a class, I teach a class on forensic entomology. This is our textbook. We actually go through the textbook, and you would be surprised at how much is involved in forensic entomology, the history. Yes, I am married. We have the very first forensic entomology case was people were out. Somebody had been killed in a cornfield, the workers in the cornfield, and somebody got stabbed. I don't know if this is anecdotal, but this is the story. When everybody came back, they asked people to put down their sickles because they wanted to see who had actually killed the guy in there. And then apparently flies were attracted to one of the sickles, and that's how they figured it out. So that was historically the very first case. But there's also in not just in murder, there is child abuse cases. So a lot of times it's very sad to hear stories about maggots in baby diaper, finding daycares with maggots in babies' diapers, implying that, oh cool, chill, implying that there was abuse there because you wouldn't find maggots in a diaper, right, if somebody was changing a diaper regularly. There's also toxicology, which if somebody had overdosed on morphine or something, those chemicals, those maggots can actually accumulate that morphine, right? And you can actually it's easier to test the maggots for some of those chemicals than it is to actually test the person sometimes. We talk about the biology, temperature, blood stain evidence, deadly insects. That's my favorite lecture ever because we talk about ways in which you could actually I know, it is horrible. I know, like, yeah. I know you're probably looking at me like, how does this woman do this? But, you know, and it is. It's like, but from my perspective, it's really rewarding, like when you can help, right? When you can help them solve a crime and maybe get somebody bad off the streets, right? We also helped once with a whooping crane case. That was pretty cool. There had been some whooping crane deaths, and so that's Fish and Wildlife, not the crime lab, but they sent us the whooping crane. I actually got to see a whooping crane, right? That was pretty neat. Well, it was dead, but somebody had killed it and they had found it, and so we helped narrow down when that whooping crane had died. But they give us a whole wealth of information in terms of where it was found. It was tagged, so they actually had some information about it. Thanks, Turtleneck Bro. You don't have to sub. Didn't I say save your money? Nobody ever has to come here and spend money. It's just a pleasure to have you guys here. So big love. I love you all. Don't ever have to spend a dime in here. So all right, so you guys want to get to a real case, right? So I have like real evidence. I should try not to show you that. Like, that's the actual crime lab things. I probably shouldn't have shown you that side. But you can see like the handprint, right, from the crime lab. I know, thank you. We can stomach insects and dead bodies. Well, how about you? Do you have a sensitive stomach or anything? Oh my gosh, no. Chill Girl, if you would have seen my stream a couple of weeks ago I did with my kids, it was the Gross Food Challenge. Actually, that was kind of like, there were some things. My kids and I ate bugs and eels and all kinds of weird stuff. Which is really funny because, like, you know, when you watch in movies like Silence of the Lambs, like they like can't stomach that smell of death. But like, to me, like, I don't really think it's that bad. It's not like, I mean, it's gross, but it's not like as bad as I think that they make it out in the movies, to be honest with you. So anyways, the Gross Food Challenge was partially, my kids wanted to stream with me. And so that's kind of what we came up with. We did a few others, but my kids kind of they're very hyperactive. I don't know where they get all that energy from, right? Maybe their mom. But yeah, they're like 10 times me. So we got to work on some things that maybe they would like. I got to not force them into doing it. So it's got to be something we do together. So anyways, I have some real crime scene evidence. And I'll tell you a little bit about the case. I'm not going to tell you everything about the case, but I'm going to read like from the news report without revealing a lot of information about it. But so Blank police have launched a homicide investigation after a missing man was found dead in his car Friday morning. Blank was reported missing Wednesday, according to the police. In a coordinated effort with multiple outside agencies and while in flight in a helicopter search for this person, officers found his vehicle in a heavily wooded area a few miles west of this town. The police department has now changed their efforts from a missing person case to a homicide investigation. And then they say anybody with information can contact this. And so the information that, you've seen, what do you do, Existence? Yeah, that's, my friend is the one that collects a lot of the evidence. So, yeah, it doesn't, like, I guess, like, I'm an entomologist, so I'm not really grossed out by the icky and the gross stuff, like, but I'm also heavily empathetic, so what really bothers me is, like, if I empathize with, I'm separated from that dead body stuff, so I don't have to see it, unless I want to train and do, like, help with that, because there are some forensic entomologists that do that. But yeah, that's like the thing is hard for me is the empathizing. So like I have a harder time, like if somebody shows me pictures of stuff, like I find that really, really hard to look at and do. Like anything like where I envision somebody in pain or being hurt or abused, that's the hard part for me to stomach. But to actually see somebody dead it's okay. It's just the actual act of thinking about them getting hurt, which is the hard part for me. Oh, you went to school for police science. Existence, we gotta talk more. Yeah, I know. We gamble a lot with each other, Existence, but yeah, we don't really know much about each other. Have to talk more. So, and I've lost my train of thought again. I'm always losing my train of thought. Who knows what I was saying? Something about, not being, so, yeah. And we had, when I taught the class the last time, we had a lot of people from kind of the police officers and crime lab come in, and they did not like hold back on showing graphic photos to my students, and my students would like cry after they left class. Because like, I just remember one time we had somebody come in and lecture, and he's showing us real crime scene stuff. And he's like, do you see that? Does anybody know what kind of material that is on the floor? It's like, that's brains. And there's like brains all over the place. So like, my students did not like that very much. But you know what? How do you sign up for a forensic entomology class and not really expect some degree of gross stuff? No, I actually don't like horror movies, chill girl, at all. Like, I started doing some horror games and streams, but that's just for me to step far outside of my comfort zone. So you guys heard something about the case, right? And let's see, I could use, so that was the case. The person was found in, so we have various evidence. So the person was found in their car. So like this piece of evidence in this bag were maggots from the body in the interior of the vehicle. We had one vial of flies, a maggot from the exterior driver's side of the vehicle, and one beetle and body and beetle from interior of vehicle. Various locations in the interior and exterior of the vehicle. Maggots collected from interior vehicle, crawling away. So yeah, and then everything is like dated and time stamped and stuff. So I can show you some. So what we did was, I did another vial, but I guess I don't. Maybe I'll show you that one. Yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking. So I'll show you some real. So these were maggots. So here, these are some of the maggots from that actual crime scene. Okay. One in your hair, had one crawl. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I'm one of those people, like, I'll put my arm out, and if an insect lands on it, doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me one bit. So, anyways, put that over here. And so let's take a look at these. Let's see. Hey, bonjour, how are you? I'm gonna have to adjust my microscope here. So yeah, these are some of those actual maggots, right? I know I should have put something white underneath them. Let me see if I can get a piece of paper. Might be easier to see if it's white underneath, maybe a little bit. See if we can zoom in a little closer. So yeah, and let's see. Now, and I was dumb, and so these are the maggots. Like, these are literally the maggots that came off of that dead body in that case, which is fairly interesting. So you're actually seeing real life forensic evidence. I meant to pull up, I forgot to print out the report and stuff, but let's see, I had, so I was, at this point, I was also texting information back and forth with my friend at the crime lab, and so I had to look back at the case, and this is what I had written. I said, so looking at the degree day data for the species that we're looking at is Cochleomyia macellaria. This is a secondary screwworm fly. It's very abundant here. It takes about 60 to 70 degree days. And I didn't tell you guys what a degree day was. My bad. At base 10 centigrade. So a degree day is actually like how we measure temperature in terms of like if this particular insect, like, it can't increase its development unless temperatures are above 10 degrees Celsius, right? And so for every degree above Celsius, we add a degree day. So if it's 20 C outside, that one day is considered 10 degree days, right? So on. So for this to get to this stage of development, it takes 60 to 70 degree days to get to the third instar that were collected off of the dead body at that time. So looking at the weather data, that means the eggs would have been laid around May 3rd. And then I screenshotted the data that I gave to her. And then she said, that's great. He went missing on the 2nd around noon. And so that was that. So based on that, which was great. So our insect data, hey Coop! Sorry, I didn't mean to scream. So it's cool because based on that data, so like based on the maggots, so based on these maggots right here, right, we were able to help determine that, like, to get to this stage of development, those eggs would have had to have been laid on May 3rd. He went missing on May 2nd. So in all likelihood, right, he would have probably died sometime in May 2nd and 3rd. Now his body wasn't found until May 8th, right? And that's when the insect evidence was collected. So, which is pretty cool, I think, because like here you have this time frame, like May 8th is when he was collected, right? And so he went missing on the 2nd, he was found on the 8th. So that's a huge window in which, like, I mean, how do you narrow down the suspects during that time period, right? Like, how would you, there's got to be so much, and existence probably knows, right? You got so much data and information out there. Like, did he, like, maybe he went missing on the 2nd, but maybe he didn't die until the 7th, right? And something like, so how do you eliminate suspects in that case? And it's like carbon dating. Sure, yeah. So, but yeah, so just identifying insect in that case. And so yeah, so I'll show you again those awesome maggots that were eating that poor dead body up there. And so yeah, so that was, yeah, so that's the real, those are real maggots, real crime scene evidence and stuff. And yeah, so I mean, it's not that necessarily our information was particularly useful. And in this case, you know, because in all, I think based on other evidence that they had collected, they were able to come to the same conclusion. But, you know, it is kind of useful when you have, in some cases, like a lot of evidence. Are they missing their heads, or is that how they look? Oh, I'll show you how they look. So these are like the maggots, right? And so their heads are, their heads are like the pointy thing at that one end, right? The pointy end. And so they'll eat like that. And then they have at the big fat butt on the other end is kind of how they breathe, right? So they can kind of, like with a lot of maggots, they'll use that pointy head and they can bite down and stuff, but they still have to breathe oxygen. So they actually have, they call spiracles, so little openings in which they can breathe. So as long as their butt is sticking out through the surface, they can breathe, because that's still important. But a lot of times, like most of our, that was their butt. Yeah, it does. It makes more sense. And so but most of the time, like, you know, the crime labs, like, we don't get a lot of insect evidence, but there are some cases where it has been useful. I personally have never had to testify, but like if we've really been trying to build more of this partnership with the crime lab, so we can be their go-to for these kinds of cases. So I'm trying to get my certifications so that way If I do ever need to testify in court, I can do that as an expert on that. So, no, actually, Chill Girl, no. Chill Girl, I'm one of those people that probably didn't. I mean, if you knew me in high school, I think you would have been like, yeah, like I'd never had much self-confidence in myself. And, you know, like I had teachers that, oh gosh, you know, like it's just, yeah. I don't think a lot of people believed in me, my teachers and stuff like that. But to me, it's not that I'm smart or anything. I'm just freaking stubborn and persistent. So if somebody tells me like, yeah, you're not smart enough to do this, then I'm just going to do it. And that's probably why I got my PhD to begin with, because I'm probably like, yeah, you don't think I'm smart enough? Fine, I'm going to do it and just show you, right? Like, that's my life in a nutshell. Like, this is why I do so many weird things, because somebody mentioned something and I'm like, yeah, that would be, maybe I could do that. That's kind of neat. So, oh, sing you a lullaby. Dang you. All right, where are my books? So yeah, I think most of you have been to my stream before. You know my redemptions are like the mommy stuff. So mommy, how do I like survive? Oh, you're about to go to sleep. Okay. Mommy, tell me a bedtime story. And mommy, sing me a lullaby. And random. Okay, so I opened to something called The Most. So this book is called Lullabies. I don't know if they're supposed to be sung, but you're going to hear my voice sing this. The Most. Okay. You may not know the reason why. For a time I wasn't I. There was a man who came and went. On him every breath was spent. I'm sorry I forgot all else. It was the most I ever felt. There you go. I don't know if they actually are supposed to have a tune that goes with them, but there's your lullaby. Yeah, so hopefully that puts you to sleep. Hopefully my educating you guys about forensics puts you to sleep. If you have any questions, like, and don't leave before we raid or anything, because I'd like to send this. It looks like there's probably a good amount of you guys here in my stream. I can never really see, like, I think the number that I see isn't necessarily reflect, because I don't have my stream open. So, but yeah, does anybody have any questions about forensic entomology or cases, or do you want to see maggots again or flies again or anything I didn't explain that you're curious about? Anybody else? Anything you want to see in future? Lunch and Learns. 16 people. Yeah. And like for those of you in the chat, is there anybody out there who is, what am I doing? Streaming right now that could use an awesome 16-person raid? Don't you guys go anywhere, because like raiding in my opinion is like one of the best parts of streaming, you know? Yes, I am persistent. Chill Girl, for sure. Yeah, you know, and like, I think it makes me a better teacher too, because like, I appreciate failure, and like, I think a lot of times students are afraid to fail. But I think in terms of like, at least at a university and stuff, like sometimes you need to fail to really succeed. You know, and we do a lot of research in my lab, and I try to convey that to my students, and they don't, you know, I think they are shocked at that, because like sometimes, like, you know, like I think if you are one of those people that always got A's and everything always came easily, I don't think you would gain as much than if you understood how to pick yourself up from failures. So, yeah, I mean, I had plenty of really bad grades. You know, my dad died when I was a freshman in college, and that was really, really hard, you know, and I kind of shut down, and I didn't really go to class the last month, and that was really hard and affected my grades, you know, and I had to overcome that, and I think after that I showed a huge appreciation for like the value of my education and stuff. But But I mean, I think sometimes it's important to fail and just to be persistent and stuff. So, all right. So let's see. We are gonna raid to. Why does it say 22 viewers in chat on my thing? Maybe that's an old thing, but let's see. Who do we have to raid? I'm looking. I like to look at my bottom of my list here. Wait. Oh wait, Young Slack. Wait, Young Slack was in here. Let's do Young Slack, guys. Let's go raid Young Slack, right? He was the one that was here at the very, very beginning of my stream. Is that correct? Yeah, he was. Let's go raid him. That's a new person. Hey, I'm Malicious. I know you kind of missed here. Let me show you some maggots. I'm Malicious. These were maggots from a real life dead body from a crime scene. Oh shoot. Oh no. Crap. This thing is always popping up. Oh no. I don't want to see news. Okay. All right. So let's go and do. No. Wait. How do I raid? I type it in, right? Raid. Young Slack 7. And you guys have been so awesome. I love you all. Anybody want tech? Can you show my big love emote one more time? Because that's how I feel. Big love to all of you guys for being here. It means so much that you guys were here. I love you all. You're so amazing. Please stick around for the raid because this person only has one person in their chat. And like, it's so nice to send the love to those awesome people. He was here learning, and now let's go give him some love too. And you guys are awesome. I love you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Bye guys.